A group of adventurers is nearly wiped out by an explosion of a platinum-ranking monster. A huge dragon hangs over them, mocking the impotence of humans. A wounded knight fights to rise, leaning on his sword. From the ashes, a man in a suit and glasses carrying only one baseball bat emerges. He apologizes for his appearance, saying he didn't realize there were people there. The knight, confused with the appearance and weapon of man, asks who he is, thinking he must be a lost fool. The dragon roars, threatening to turn everyone into ashes. The man in the suit is getting ready, firmly gripping his baseball bat. With a single powerful blow, man strikes the dragon, causing the creature's blood to flow. The mighty dragon falls, defeated with one blow. To the shock of the adventurers, the man casually comments, "What a great sound." The next morning, at Tokyo Adventure Book Company, a man named Kada Sato, 41, single and a regular office clerk, is working. Deep down, your manager screams angry on the phone about a cancelled event at the last minute. Kada reflects on how, 18 years ago when he joined the company, the novels and fantasy mangas were on the rise, and he felt lucky to have a stable job. Your manager is furious with a group called Very Good, blaming them for the problem. Kada thinks about the Very Good, a group of streamers of popular dungeons among young people. He doesn't understand the appeal to watch other people explore dungeons online. In the year 2025, the world is in the great age of adventure. In a large billboard, the popular streamer Suiren is displayed. A transition panel showing a flash of light between the city buildings. A retrospective of 18 years ago when an unexpected dungeon disaster brought monsters into the world, forcing humanity to fight. Those who defeat monsters get powerful items, becoming adventurous and heroes admired by everyone. The younger generation, known as natives of dungeons, grew up with dungeons and treats exploration as entertainment, transmitting their achievements on social networks. A transition panel showing a clock on the wall and a view of the outside of an office building. As reality became more exciting than fiction, the demand for fantasy publications decreased, and Kada's publisher began selling goods related to dungeon streamers to survive. Kada sighs, feeling that he has officially become an old man who can no longer understand young culture. With her hand on the office window, Kada thinks to herself, "That's boring." Kada's boss asks if he's already trying to go home. Kada answers that work hours are over. Kada's boss reminds him of the Very Good incident and insists that he should help apologize to those involved. A young colleague, Madoka Yukai, who is Kada's junior and responsible for streamer affairs, insists that it is her responsibility and that she does not want to involve her senpai in the problem. Kada kindly tells Yukai that she will be less burdened with two people, and she blushes with her kindness. The manager scolds Kada for not being more cooperative and suggests that, as a veteran, he should at least kneel on the floor as an apology. Kada smiles and says that if he can be useful just kneeling, it's a small price to pay. Kada tells Yukai not to worry, because she contributes more to the company than he does. While Yukai is distracted and blushed, Kada secretly raises two fingers as if she were telling something. Kada sighs, looking exhausted about the situation. After staying late to work overtime, Kada walks around town, remembering that her salary was much better 18 years ago. He stops in front of a big billboard. The billboard features a ZBK ad with Suiren streamer, recruiting for the third season of Doom production. Instead of watching the announcement, Kada looks at a 24-hour meat bowl store, discouraged at the price of 490 yen. As Kada turns around, an explosion of fire erupts in the street behind him, scaring him. A group of young people laughed, with one boasting of the flame they had just conjured. The young man explains that being more scandalous means becoming more viral, which will make them more money. The young man glances at Kada, saying he doesn't want to end up being a lame corporate slave. The young man's friends mock Kada, finding it hilarious how he was looking at the meat bowl shop. Angry, Kada secretly raises 2 fingers again, as if counting silently. While waiting for the train, Kada reflects that nowadays, an adventurer can earn more than a company employee. On the crowded train, Kada thinks to herself, "It's their life and my life is mine." Kada comes home late, announcing her arrival and apologizing for the delay. His 16-year-old niece, Hikari Amahara, warmly greets him from the couch and asks if he wants to have dinner because she made curry with cheese. Kada recalls that after his parents died, he lived alone in the house he inherited. Later, his sister returned with Hikari to live with him after she separated from her husband. Kada thinks it's weird living with her teenage niece and worrying about her clothes, but she can't say anything. A close-up of a spoonful of curry with rice. Kada eats Hikari's food and exclaims it's delicious. Hikari is glad he likes his food, saying it makes her want to cook more for him. Kada sighs, saying that meals are her only form of entertainment in her dull life. Hikari finds it depressing. Hikari blinks and says he put all his love in the food, for his uncle. Kada ignores her provocation and praises the carrots, which are star-shaped. Hikari is disappointed by his lack of reaction. Hikari shows Kada a live broadcast of Very Good, a group of streamers your friends love. Kada thinks bitterly that she was working overtime to clean up their mess. In the broadcast, Very Good members talk about a recent controversy, stating that they have no regrets and that Japan is wrong for not accepting them. Hearing their arrogance, Kada cracks with anger. Hikari is disgusted too. Kada, wrapped in a dark aura, lifts 3 fingers, announces she's going out for a while and thanks for the meal. Kada wears her coat, saying she just wants to do a little exercise. He tells Hikari to go to bed, and she watches him come out with a malicious smile. A sign showing the east exit of Shinjuku Station at night. Hikari secretly follows his uncle, recording him with his cell phone. While recording, Hikari thinks to herself that his uncle is strange. She recalls how he comes out at strange times and comes back covered in blood, and how once she found an extremely rare item of an SSS rank monster on her shirt while doing laundry. A close-up of Hikari finding the rare item in the pocket of his uncle's shirt. An evaluation reveals that the item can only be obtained from SSS rank monsters in the deepest layer of a dungeon. Convinced that he's hiding something, Hikari decides today is the day hell finally catch him in the act. She follows him to a large building where a group of people are protesting, demanding that they liberate the dungeons and recover Shinjuku. The crowd of protesters continues to shout slogans about the future being in the hands of adventurers. A sign in the building celebrates the 18 years since the dungeon disaster. Hikari realizes that the building is a beating cage and wonders why his uncle would come here. A close-up of Hikari's confused face. Hidden, Hikari watches Kada pay for an hour in the beating cage and sneaks him inside. It is revealed that Hikari is registered as an adventurer under the name Hikari Nindo, and his main skill is SSS furtivity. Hikari watches Kada pass through the normal batting cages and enter a separate door which closes behind him, making him disappear. Shocked, Hikari realizes that the door must be the entrance to a dungeon. The door displays a recommended level of 140. Hikari becomes unbelievable that his uncle would enter such a high-level dungeon. Kada quietly enters the high-level dungeon, walking across a bridge. Hikari follows him, worried, thinking that even an adventurer of gold rank would not last 10 minutes there. She feels a little safer because of her stealth skills but still cares about her uncle, who is walking so carelessly. A monster frog with diamond skin suddenly appears. Hikari recognizes diamond frogs, creatures with hard bodies and impenetrable skin, and she is terrified. Diamond Toad jumps towards Kada. Hikari panics, thinking a mere businessman will be killed instantly. Hikari screams at him to be careful, but Kada calmly grabs his bat and prepares for the frog's attack. With a loud sound, Kada hits the diamond toad, making it explode. He smiles, commenting on the great sound, leaving Hikari shocked. Kada, holding what's left of her now broken bat, comments that it was a bit brutal. Hikari is shocked that he defeated a diamond toad with one stroke, remembering that even the famous CEO Oeri needed 2 blows with his 300 million yen sword. Hikari remembers that diamonds are called plural because they always attack in groups, and in fact more frogs appear. Kada attacks the frogs, screaming that every blow is for her dirty boss and rude brats. He continues his attack, venting his frustration against the selfish dungeon streams, crushing the monsters with fury. Hikari, seeing your uncle so excited, feels sorry for him and has an idea. She decides to broadcast her fights live and immediately begins to receive comments. The viewers marvel, realizing that he is fighting diamond toads which only appear in the deepest layers of a high-level dungeon. They wonder why he's wearing a suit and where his equipment is. Comments on live broadcast continue, with viewers asking to see your face and wondering if a more dangerous monster will appear. A huge cloud of dust explodes from a collapsed section of the dungeon. From the ruins emerges the Diamond Jibya, a chief monster. Hikari screams for his uncle, terrified, knowing that the monster is too powerful for him to handle. Kada faces the Diamond Jibya and swings her bat with full force, finding the monster's attack with a metallic sound. The impact of Kada's blow against the Jiboa causes a huge bang, destroying part of the dungeon wall. After the dust settles, the transmission returns to the air, revealing Kada still standing. Hikari and the viewers are shocked to see that their uncle looks more muscular and powerful than before. With an improved physicist, Kada faces the Jiboa and challenges her to attack. While the Jibya Sibylla and prepares to attack, Hikari watches with fear, recording the scene. Kada has a flashback from her school days, remembering a classmate asking him to do his cleaning tasks. The flashback continues, showing young Kada being pressured to do someone else's work. Back to the present, Kada clenches her fists, remembering how she always got nasty chores. While he remembered smiling through bullying, his repressed frustration finally boils. A close-up of young Kada smiling despite being burdened. The flashback shows other students commenting on how young Kada always smiles and accepts chores, saying he likes to help others so it's okay. Memories of being called old, corporate loser and having to deal with the problems of selfish streamers pass through Kada's mind as he prepares to attack the Jiboa. With a furious cry from Dammit, Kada strikes a devastating blow to Diamond Jiboa. The Jiboa breaks in half and collapses. The live broadcast blows up unbelieving viewers. Hikari realizes his video is turning viral. While the monster's blood rains on him, Kada seems powerful and triumphant. Hikari declares him the best uncle. Kada breathes a sigh of relief. Hikari, seeing the number of his subscribers exceed 10,000, smiles and thinks he feels smells of money. An 18-year-old flashback shows the beginning of the dungeon disaster, with the earth shaking and a manhole lid shaking violently. The flashback continues, showing gigantic dungeons rising suddenly from the ground in the middle of a city, causing mass destruction. The scene shows the scale of disaster, with the structures of the dungeon destroying buildings and causing chaos throughout Japanese society. The media and the internet react to disaster with speculation and fear, with a news report on TV and online comments reflecting the confusion of the public. While the world was about to change dramatically, people observed the destruction of a runway, feeling the imminent transformation of society. Despite the chaos, a 23-year-old Kada Sato, like other Japanese office workers, continues to work as if nothing were happening. On the first day of the disaster, Kada's company allows employees to leave early. With the trains still, there's a feeling that something extraordinary is happening. The next day, however, normality is forced to return, and Kada is on a crowded train being rushed back to work as if nothing had happened. Kada reflects on how, after becoming an adult, he lost his motivation, realizing that hobbies require time and energy that he no longer has. The only hobby left for Kada is to go to Shinjuku's batting cage, where he is determined to get a 100 million-hour batting certificate. A close-up of a baseball while Kada reflects that although it may seem silly, he cannot give up that time to relieve stress. Despite the tiredness of work, Kada sees the batting cage as her only escape valve for stress, determined to face the 100 km/h pitch. Kada prepares, firmly tightening the metal bat while concentrating on the approaching high-speed pitch. With intense focus, Kada anticipates the trajectory of the baseball, believing she can hit it. Meanwhile, outside the cage, the store manager's face wriggles with horror by witnessing something terrible happening. A monster attacks within the reception area of the batting cage, causing destruction and panic. A transition panel showing a baseball rolling on the ground in chaos. A man is violently impaled by a monster attack, showing the brutality of the attack. From the victim's lifeless body, a grotesque little monster creature emerges, revealing the origin of the attack. A close-up of the little monster that emerged from the victim's body, squealing. While people flee in panic, Kada, unaware of the monster's attack, gets annoyed by the noise that is interrupting her concentration. A close-up of Kada's face, showing her irritation with the noise, completely oblivious to danger. Kada tries to focus again on her battling, blocking the chaos that happens outside. When a small creature crosses the wall, Kada reacts instinctively, hitting it with a powerful blow, believing it was a baseball. The monster he hit is revealed as a metal slug, a rare creature that grants many points of experience. The impact of Kada's coup causes Metal Slug to explode by hitting the cage wall. Not knowing that he just killed a monster, Kada loudly celebrates what he believes was a perfect home run. Animated, Kada runs towards the manager's counter to claim her home run certificate, passing through the manager's bloody body without realizing it. Upon arriving at the counter, Kada is shocked to find the reception site covered in bodies and blood, the terrible consequence of the monster's attack. Back to the present, Kada suddenly wakes up, sweating while her 6:00 a.m. alarm rings. The traumatic event was a nightmare or a memory. A transition panel showing Kada's reflection in the mirror while he contemplates vivid memory. Kada reflects on the fact that the ball he hit was actually a monster, looking at his framed batting certificate. Despite that miraculous event, Kada's life has not changed. He's still a regular office worker, and going to dungeons is just a hobby. Kada enters the dining room where her older sister, Hikari, greets him and offers him a cup of coffee. Hikari, his older sister, asks why he is acting so distant and formal, questioning whether he is disturbed by her sudden return home. Kada explains that she's trying to act like an adult around Hikari, but she gets tense when Hikari asks where he was the night before. Hikari remembers coming home and finding the empty house while Kada panics, knowing she cannot tell her she was in a dungeon to relieve stress. Hikari grabs Kada and shakes him, expressing his loneliness and demanding that he at least greet her when she gets home. Confused, Kada asks where Hikari is and Akari, crying, reveals that Hikari said he was making a live broadcast of a dungeon in the middle of the night. Kada confronts Akari about Hikari's danger to go to dungeons, but Akari responds that being a live streamer is one of the most profitable careers these days. Kada checks the Hikari channel and is not impressed by its number of subscribers. Akari comments that it's nothing special and that he should know that since he works in the area. A transition panel with the word, but indicating a change in Akari's thinking. Akari declares that she does not want to be the kind of mother who crushes her daughter's dreams out of fear. A close-up of Kada's tired face while he listens to his sister. Akari asks Kada to stop Hikari, but he refuses to be the villain while he prepares for work. She offers breakfast, which he refuses. Kada tells Akari she'll come back later and leave the house to work. At the train station, Kada passes by a group of people arguing about the mysterious Shinjuku fighter. Upon hearing the talk about the streamer, Kada sighs of irritation, as this reminds him of his exhausting work cleaning up the mess of the group of streamers. Very good. On the train, Kada is surrounded by conversations about dungeon streamers. He thinks bitterly that he needs to learn more about them for his work and wonders what kind of person the Shinjuku fighter really is. A take of an office building in the morning, setting the scene at Kata's workplace. In the office, Kada meets her colleague Yukai, who seems completely exhausted. She explains that she had to stay up all night emailing the angry sponsors after Very Good's apology video went viral again. Kada takes something from her ecological bag to give to Yukai. Kada offers Yukai a rice muffin, telling her to eat and rest for a while. She accepts grateful. While eating, Yukai comments that the office air conditioning turns off at night, which makes it even harder to stay awake. Yukai despairs about what to do with the Very Good situation, lamenting that major agencies like Doom ignore them and wondering if they will be able to find a popular streamer who accepts their small budget. A transition panel showing the office ceiling during the conversation. To ease the mood, Kada mentions that her niece began streaming. A coworker next asks how many subscribers she has. Kada says she has about 1,500 subscribers, which Yukai says is not enough. She sighs, hoping the Shinjuku fighter will respond to their offer. Kada, curious, asks if this person is famous. Yukai explains excitedly that the Shinjuku fighter is a sensational beginner who won over 10,000 subscribers on his first broadcast. Kada is shocked. Yukai continues, showing the Shinjuku beater channel on the computer. She says that he alone defeated an SSS leader of rank, the Diamond Jibawa, and that this could be the beginning of a legend. Kada is stunned, realizing that she is the same monster he defeated the night before. He asks Yukai if the monster is really strong. Yukai explains that the Diamond Jibawa is one of the strongest bosses, with a 90% reduction in physical damage, and that even Very Good was completely annihilated by it. In a flashback, Kada recalls the fight, thinking that although the scales of the monster were hard, its internal structure was fragile and could be damaged reaching the right point with the bat. Kada wonders if he's the Shinjuku fighter, but quickly dismisses the idea as impossible. He concludes that it must be just a coincidence since he never transmitted his trips to the dungeons, which are just a hobby to relieve stress. The manager of Kada and Yukai reminds them that despite their problematic behavior, Very Good was a valuable asset for its controversial content bordering on viral. With a cold expression, the manager orders them to cut ties with Very Good immediately and quickly find a replacement. Kada and Yukai are shocked when the manager tells them to wait for overtime until a replacement is found. Looking defeated, Kada and Yukai are ordered to return to the manager's work. A transition panel of a school bell ringing, indicating a change of scene for the school. At school, Hikari is excitedly looking at his phone, happy that the Shinjuku Beater channel reached 17,000 subscribers. Your friend Mia skeptically asks if she has a sugar daddy. Mia warns Hikari that transmitting someone without permission is illegal and that she may get into trouble, noting that her uncle does not seem to be the kind who likes attention. Hikari dismisses the concern, saying that his uncle is allergic to young culture and will never find out. Mia reveals that Hikari's uncle's batting cage was hit during the dungeon disaster 18 years ago. Hikari and Mia discuss the many dungeon gates around Shinjuku, noting that although some are managed by Japan's Adventurer Guild, most are freely used by adventurers for convenience. Mia leans over and tells Hikari that her uncle uses a particularly dangerous gate that leads directly to the deepest layer of the dungeon. While an image of the entrance to the batting cage is shown, Mia explains that even a high-ranking group could die if they came in recklessly. Hikari proudly declares that her uncle is a badass, while Mia watches with concern. Mia asks Hikari if it is right to expose her uncle who has been a benefactor to her without her permission. Hikari looks guilty. Mia softens, saying she understands that it would be a shame to give up a video with 1 million views. Hikari, with a sad expression, agrees with the head. Hikari promises Mia shall tell her uncle the truth. Mia says that's the best thing to do. Hikari adds in a playful way that he will tell him after becoming a billionaire, to Mia's shock. In the school hall, Hikari tells Mia that for now she has configured facial filters and personal information so that her uncle's identity remains hidden if she decides to transmit it spontaneously in the future. Hikari's phone rings suddenly, showing his uncle's name on his caller ID. Hikari answers your uncle's call. Kada tells her she'll be working overtime again that day. Hikari asks about dinner and Kada corrects herself, saying she's going out to drink, which Hikari understands as a code to go to a dungeon. Hikari asks his uncle if his phone's GPS is active, and he says he doesn't usually use it. With a serried expression, Hikari asks her uncle to turn on the GPS so she knows when he's coming home because she's lonely without him. Moved by her words, Kada agrees to turn on the GPS. After the call, Hikari declares mission accomplished. She posts an ad on the Shinjuku Beater channel, informing her followers that there will be a live broadcast that night. Hikari leans back, excited, thinking about what amazing things your uncle will show you during the next broadcast. Meanwhile, in a deeper layer of Shinjuku's dungeon, the members of the Very Good streamer group are seated amid debris, lamenting the loss of their jobs and opportunities. Team members Mash and Vinegar express their frustration, saying they are stuck. Another member complains that a new irritating streamer, the Shinjuku Hitter, has appeared and is stealing all the attention. Salt, a member of the group, rabidly defends their tactics of gathering weak monsters to level, discarding the allegations that this brings them into berserk mode. The leader, Potato, suggests a surprise collaboration with the streamer Suiren. He then dismisses the idea, saying they need something bigger to overshadow his controversy. Potato proposes a more dramatic plan. They could rescue a top streamer who is in trouble during a live broadcast to create a powerful moment of return. Potato smiles maliciously with his plan while a legend identifies the group as Very Good, a channel with 420,000 subscribers. That night in Tokyo, Kada mentally counts to 3. He is with his colleague Yukai and reflects that the situation is frustrating, thinking that people should be properly compensated for their work. While walking down the street, Kada continues her internal monologue, irritated by the fact that her manager wants high-quality results for a low price, forcing them to do unpaid overtime. Yukai apologizes for Kada having to work on his assignment, but he, looking angry, thinks that unpaid overtime is unacceptable despite his irritation. Yukai wants to show his gratitude. Yukai insists on paying a ramen to Keita as compensation. He politely refuses, citing the company's compliance rules that disapprove of male and female employees eating together. Yukai deeply blushes when Keita adds that the rule is especially important when it comes to someone as attractive as she is. Keita says goodbye politely, bowing down and wishing Yukai a good night before leaving. As Keita steps aside, she feels a chill of relief, happy to have casually avoided any rumors in the office about unwanted harassment. Left behind, Yukai blushes with her heart racing with what Keita said. A transition panel showing a change from scene to night. Keita arrives at the batting cage and pays 500 yen for an hour, as usual. As Keita enters the batting area, the clerk wishes her a good time. Secretly, his niece Hikari follows him. It turns out that she is an adventurer with the SSS furtivity skill, and she is excited to record great images of her uncle. Hikari summons his family member, a cat-shaped spiritual drone, to help her record. Hikari explains that his SSS furtivity ability grants him perfect invisibility, allowing her to enter dangerous dungeons despite her weak fighting ability. With the help of his invisible drone, Hikari plans to film his uncle without him noticing. Keita stops suddenly, feeling that someone is watching him. His keen perception scares Hikari, who panics because he was almost discovered. Reacting by instinct, Keita swings her baseball bat toward where she felt the presence, almost reaching the invisible Hikari. Still invisible, Hikari freezes with terror when Keita accidentally presses the tip of her bat against her chest, wondering what could be that soft wall. While Keita continues to poke the soft wall, Hikari, mortified, desperately tries to remain silent so as not to reveal her presence. A loud siren suddenly sounds from inside the dungeon, drawing Keita's attention and making him run to investigate, leaving Hikari behind. In the border zone of level 140 dungeon, the popular streamer Suiren and her group set a trap for their shock and that of their 22,128 live viewers. The trap invokes a swarm of diamond toads, creatures hard to deal with, that quickly surround Suiren's panic group. While one of their teammates panics, Suiren tries to reunite his group, shouting that they need to try to survive. Suiren, angry, scolds viewers of her live broadcast for making inappropriate comments during the crisis, reminding them that she can see everything and that they will not die. A teammate called Amazuru is caught by the sticky tongue of a frog and screams for help, because the monster's strength threatens to crush his bones. Suiren casts a powerful spell of water magic, Megaton Bomb, but it proves completely ineffective against the hard skin of diamond frogs. A diamond frog attacks Suiren, enveloping her with his tongue and tightening her tightly, leaving her in a dangerous situation. Suddenly, Keita appears behind Suiren, looking bigger and more imposing with an aura of power. With a single powerful blow, Keita destroys the diamond frog that had captured Suiren, saving her and leaving her group shocked by the display of force. Suiren's live broadcast explodes with comments from amazed viewers, who identify the man in a suit with a blurry face as the legendary Shinjuku fighter. Keita prepares to fight the remaining diamond toads after saving Suiren, challenging them to attack. Hikari's relative, a cat-shaped spiritual drone, hovers in the air, recording the scene while the live viewer count of the broadcast rises to 32,055. While Suiren's channel viewers migrate to theirs, Hikari watches the broadcast with joy, happy to have left a link in Suiren's comments and thinking how lucky it was to find a top streamer. While Suiren's team marvels at Kada's strength, Hikari celebrates the increase in the number of spectators and donations, thinking he can hear the sound of money rolling. Kada demonstrates her overwhelming strength, destroying a diamond toad with a single powerful blow from her bat. A shiny jewel, an item dumped by one of the dead monsters, rolls over the floor. Kada casually wipes the sweat off her forehead with a handkerchief, commenting that the dungeon is just a level of beginner. Standing on the defeated monsters, Kada tells Suiren's team that the area is great for casual fun. Kada calmly questions Suiren about why she set off an alarm in a border area, appearing unaffected. Suiren's teammate explains that they did not trigger the alarm on purpose, stating that they simply opened an empty treasure chest and insisting that they are the victims. Suiren tells Kada that he can verify the footage of her live broadcast to prove it, while Kada remains cautious, stating that she cannot let her guard down. Suiren's team observes Kada, having realized that he is the legendary Shinjuku fighter. While Suiren's team confirms her identity, Kada quietly wonders who could have set the trap. Suiren identifies Kada as the famous strong man, but he claims to be a common civilian. Meanwhile, her teammates whisper that he is still broadcasting live on the Shinjuku Beater channel, pretending not to know. Kada hears the whispers and sighs internally, thinking that young women are intimidating and assuming that they must be calling him heinous old man. Recognizing that Suiren is from the great streaming company Doom, Kada decides to leave quickly to avoid problems. Suiren runs frantically after him, telling him to wait. Suiren reaches Kada, telling her not to look so angry and insisting that she should do something to thank him. To explain why he does not need thanks, Kada presents a hypothetical situation of a bicycle that unwisely passes a red light in front of a high-speed truck. Kada continues her analogy, arguing that it would be unpleasant to deliberately ignore someone in danger when you have the power to help. Kada concludes her explanation by stating that she only saved Suiren so as not to feel like an idiot, saying that thanks are unnecessary and problematic. Left behind, Suiren bursts with frustration, thinking to herself how unpleasant and annoying Kada is. While his teammates complain about Kada's attitude, Suiren watches him leave, his anger turning into another emotion. Suiren Korra, thinking to herself that Kada is legal means, for the shock and unbelief of her teammates. A close-up panel of Suiren's eyes, showing his fascination with Kada. Suiren reflects on the contrast between Kada's tired and exhausted eyes and her overwhelming strength, finding him rude and noble. Suiren's teammates scold her for her molten face, warning her that her fans would cause online chaos if they saw her passionate expression. A panel showing that the viewer count of the live broadcast exceeded 51,427. The conversation of the live broadcast is agitated with comments, with some viewers respecting Kada's choice to hide her face and others wondering about her identity. Live broadcast comments continue, with a user playing around who would kill himself if Suiren ended up dating an old man because of it. Another comment appears, hitting the previous one, saying that Kada is strong and mean legal. From his hideout, Hikari smiles proudly, thinking that his uncle ignoring a pretty girl is very typical of him and nice. Hikari reflects on the situation and begins to think that the trap Suiren encountered was strange. A representation of the broken treasure chest that triggered the alarm. Hikari explains the adventurer's skill system, comparing it to a tree growing straight. The analogy continues, describing the main skill that all adventurers learn as the grow stem of the tree. Hikari explains that his own main skill is SSS furtivity, which allows him to completely hide his presence and appearance. Hikari explains that as adventurers rise from level, they acquire subskills, which are like branches growing from the trunk. Hikari demonstrates her subskills, Ninja Art B, transforming her relative into a drone, and evaluation, which she uses in the broken treasure chest. The evaluation reveals that the chest is a treasure chest broken level 11, and the talk of live broadcasting comments on the use of skill. Live broadcast viewers speculate that the chest is of a top layer and must have been deliberately brought in to aim at Suiren. Hikari's relative wonders if anyone attempted an MPK monster player killer attack, which involves the use of monsters to attack other adventurers. Realizing the culprit might still be around, Hikari has an idea. Hikari sends his familiar spiritual drones to search the surrounding area for the person who set the trap. Hikari, through his family, observes the group of streamers very good in trouble within the dungeon. Their leader, Potato, is frustrated by having attracted very strong monsters. Suiren pursues Kada, trying to thank him and ask for his contact information, but he refuses firmly to her despair. With 88,677 viewers watching, Very Good members complain of their failed plan. Not knowing that they are being broadcast live, Suiren and Kada observe while one of the Very Good members is seen holding the trap chest. After his team confirms that the members of the Very Good are guilty, Suiren uses a water mirror spell to locate them. Kada analyzes her technique, comparing her to a sonar. Suiren casts a massive water spell called Great Vortex, creating a huge whirlwind that swallows the members of Very Good. A member of the Very Good screams in shock when caught by Suiren's powerful Great Vortex spell. One of Suiren's teammates questions whether the spell was cast from far away, but Kada reassures her, explaining that long-range magic is the right choice for the situation. While Suiren's team marvels, Kada emanates a powerful and intimidating aura, appearing much stronger than before. The members of the Very Good are caught in the furious torrent, screaming that it is impossible to escape such a powerful vortex. Kada walks calmly towards the members of the Very Good through the water vortex, to their shock, who wonder who he is. Potato, the leader of the Very Good, commands his teammates to attack Kada with magic. A transition panel showing the multiple impacts of Very Good's magic spells. Kada emerges from the magical bombardment unharmed to the shock of Potato, who then commands his companions to aim at his feet. The ground under Kada's feet collapses, making it look like he's falling into the water vortex. In a flashback, Kada reminds her old boss that even when you reach the limit, you can continue working while you are conscious. The flashback continues, with Kada's boss explaining metaphorically that if someone keeps moving, it can even run over the water. Back to the present, Kada runs on the surface of the water vortex, thinking that compared to the work of Irrational Office, this is nothing. A close-up of Kada's face, realizing that her former boss was right in a distorted way. Kada reaches the members of the Very Good and hits Potato in the face with her baseball bat. After hitting Potato, Kada casually apologizes. A close-up of the bloody and broken face of Potato after being hit. One of Suiren's teammates runs to Kada, asking if he's okay. Another teammate whispers to Suiren that Kada's channel is still broadcasting live, so she should be careful what she says. Suiren's teammate is looking for Kada's transmission drone but cannot find it, concluding that the camera operator must have advanced stealth skills. Kada and Suiren confront the defeated Very Good group. Suiren scolds them, saying they could have killed them all. Kada recognizes Very Good as the group of streamers who made him work overtime. Enraged, he grabs Potato by the collar, demanding to know what they're doing there. Potato panics, claiming Kada caught the wrong person and threatening to expose him to the guild. Angry with Kada's attitude, Potato throws his weapon into the trap chest, breaking it. Potato activates another alarm trap, laughing manically while calling for stronger monsters. While Potato insults him, calling him old fool, Kada begins to count quietly to 1. For Potato's shock, the trap invokes a weak peanut-shaped monster. A transition panel showing Kada's imposing and muscular figure. While viewers of the live broadcast mock the peanut boy, Potato tries to pretend it was all a joke to help Suiren. Kada, without being impressed, continues your count to 2. Potato nervously begs for Kada's forgiveness, insisting it was just a joke. Hikari, through his family, notes that he has not yet apologized. Kada finishes her count on 3 and hits Potato with a powerful blow from his bat, telling him to fly like a home run. Suiren's teammates observe, with one commenting that he may have exaggerated and hoping that Potato is not dead. Suiren blushes deeply, thinking to herself how cool the Shinjuku fighter is. The next day at the office, Yukai enthusiastically informs Kada that the group of streamers Very Good was expelled. Yukai explains that Very Good's adventurous licenses were revoked after a big mistake in a live broadcast, but Kada seems uninterested. A report details that Very Good had his license revoked by the guild due to malicious MPK behavior, with streamer Suiren being the victim. Kada checks the news on her phone and is relieved to see that her name has not been mentioned, confirming that Suiren's team has fulfilled their promise. A flashback shows Kada concerned about the possibility of getting involved in the Very Good scandal, fearing that her own adventurous license might be revoked. In the flashback, Kada asks Suiren's team to keep their identity a secret. Suiren happily agrees but says he wants a favor in return. Suiren's teammates agree with Kada's request in the flashback. In the flashback, Suiren asks for a favor in return, leaving Kada apprehensive about her intentions. Back at the office, Yukai reports excitedly that the Shinjuku Fighter channel exceeded 80,000 subscribers and wants him to work with them. Yukai regrets that the famous streamers of Doom ignore them and doubts that they will be able to find a replacement for Very Good. Kada gets a message from Suiren with cute stickers and a friendly greeting. Kada gets angry when she gets the message, thinking that exchanging contacts with Suiren would be a nuisance. Yukai asks if he received spam. Kada lies to Yukai, saying that the message was a spam from a young girl trying to lure him into a dating app. Yukai, shocked, says she's also received this kind of spam message. Yukai tells a story about app scams and asks Kada if he uses the same app as she does. He confirms that he uses it to contact the family. Excited by the coincidence, Yukai happily asks to exchange contact information with Kada. Kada panics internally, desperately trying to find an excuse to refuse Yukai's request. Yukai smiles, glad she finally found a natural opportunity to ask for Kada's contact, something she has longed for. Kada's anxiety increases as he thinks about how the situation is becoming problematic. The manager calls Kada and Yukai, and Kada takes the opportunity to escape the situation, mentally thanking her boss for saving him. Kada and Yukai stand before their manager, and Kada senses that more trouble is coming. The manager asks if they found a replacement for Very Good. Kada explains they haven't found anyone yet. The manager puts the company's main magazine on the table, stating that there is a serious problem. The manager points to the magazine, emphasizing the severity of the problem, while Kada recognizes it as the company's main publication. A close-up of the magazine shows that the exclusive article of Very Good was the main subject, with all the advertising space and sponsorships already sold. Kada argues that the content is the responsibility of the editorial department, but the manager says that they are already overloaded. The manager orders Yukai to make a sales presentation for Doom Pro, with Kada accompanying her as support. The manager confirms that it is Doom Production, the big company that manages cutting-edge streamers with over 1 million subscribers, such as Suiren. Yukai asks about an increase in budget, but the manager denies, saying that her sales skills will be tested, leaving Kada and Yukai horrified. Kada and Yukai shout in unison, shocked by the impossible task given them. In the Doom production office, Kada and a visibly nervous Yukai meet Kenya Kachidoki, the company manager. Kachidoki, an extremer, assumes they're from a publisher. Kada quietly performs as Sato from Adventure Book Co. Kada and Yukai sit for the meeting, asking for collaboration. Kada passes the word to Yukai to present the details of the proposal. Yukai concludes his presentation. Kachidoki dismisses their proposal as stunning and meaningless, questioning what Doom production would gain from it. Kachidoki mocks their little magazine circulation. Kada realizes they never intended to do business. Kachidoki continues to mock the printed media, calling the meeting a waste of time. Kachidoki's attitude changes when his gaze is lasciviously fixed on Yukai's chest. Kachidoki invites Yukai to a party with a big shot from the industry, suggesting she could get a job if she left him in a good mood. With a lascivious look, Kachidoki makes it clear that he wants Yukai to please the industry's big shot to benefit him. Yukai is shocked and horrified by Kachidoki's implication. Kachidoki smiles maliciously, hoping Yukai understands his indecent suggestion. Yukai confronts him, asking if he's suggesting sexual favors in exchange for business, calling it a serious breach of compliance. Kachidoki denies forcing her, but suggests she meets the man in a hotel room. Kada sighs of irritation, while Yukai becomes pale and trembling with the proposal. Kada stands firmly, thanks Kachidoki for the time and announces that they are leaving. As Kada leads Yukai to the door, Kachidoki protests, saying that they were coming somewhere. Kada stops and subtly threatens Kachidoki, mentioning the power of social networks. He continues his threat, detailing how popular streamers avoid adult establishments for fear of viral exposure. Kada mentions a disturbing trend of former streamers being used as escorts at hotel parties, coercing amateurs into having sex. Kada ends her threat by mentioning a rumor that Shonen magazine has a bomb piece on Doom production next week. Kachidoki reacts with stunned fury, demanding to know how Kada knows all this. Kada goes out with Yukai, saying that extended media has our own connections. Enraged, Kachidoki grabs Kada, threatening him and boasting of his former number of followers. Kada easily grabs Kachidoki's wrist, stopping her attack. Realizing that Kachidoki is weaker than expected, Kada considers the negotiation closed. Kada and Yukai retreat, leaving behind a humiliated Kachidoki. A transition panel focused on Kada's phrase on leaving. A transition panel showing the exterior of the Doom production building. Outside, Yukai thanks Kada profusely for saving her while he reminds her that the deal failed. Kada points to the great blank space in the magazine's programming, knowing that they will face the wrath of their boss. Kada and Yukai stay outside the building, not knowing what to do next. Back in the office, Kachidoki boils with rage. A subordinate approaches the furious Kachidoki to ask what is wrong. Kachidoki takes his anger out on the subordinate, giving him a reverse punch in the face. The subordinate collapses on the floor, with the front tooth broken and rolling over the floor. Kachidoki mocks the fallen subordinate as he licks the blood of his knuckles. The subordinate begs for mercy as Kachidoki approaches him. Kachidoki uses the subordinate as a punching bag, beating his head against the office window. A distant outlet showing Kada and Yukai moving away, alien to the violence that takes place inside. While beating his subordinate, Kachidoki swears he will make Kada suffer for humiliating him. A close-up of violence, with Kachidoki beating the subordinate's head against the window. A close-up of Kachidoki's enraged face, while he swears revenge against Kada. While walking down the street, Yukai asks Kada about a magazine rumor. Kada answers that although it is not proved, he is convinced it is true. Kada elaborates on the rumor, explaining that Doom Production allegedly exploits female customers, streamers, and fans, coercing them into sleeping with them. Kada regrets having to discover the dark side of the industry for work. Yukai approaches him and timidly asks if he has plans for the night. Corando, Yukai invites Kada to go out for a drink as a way to thank him for his help earlier. Yukai thinks to herself, blushing and triumphant, who finally managed to ask him out. Kada politely refuses, claiming that protecting her colleagues is part of her work and that she does not need to feel indebted. Kada tells Yukai she already has plans for dinner, and she asks in panic if it's a date. Kada explains she's having dinner with her sister and niece for Yukai's relief. After saying goodbye to Yukai and her manager, Kada runs to the train station, checking a message from her niece about the place of dinner. On the crowded train, Kada notes that the day is stuffy, but she thinks it's a great day for a beer. Kada dreams up about a giant beer, imagining that her sister is treating him in a fancy restaurant. While he is lost in thoughts, a man grabs Kada on the train, accusing him and demanding that he come down at the next station. A young woman with short hair and glasses nearby seems equally shocked by the sudden accusation. The accuser shows Kada a video on her phone, showing Kata's salivating expression from before. The accuser reveals himself as the streamer repellent of perverts Mamoru-kun, who filmed Kada and is now exposing it. Mamoru publicly accuses Kada of groping the woman, claiming to have video evidence and threatening to call the police. Kada tries to defend herself by showing that her hands were occupied, but Mamoru insists that any contact or proximity is sufficient to be considered a pervert. Mamoru boasts of his 38,000 subscribers and his alleged connections with the police, demanding Kada's identification. The woman involved denies being groped, but Mamoru ignores her, showing her the video and insisting that Kada is guilty. Angry, the woman demands that Mamoru erase the video, but he refuses, claiming that he is acting for the good of society. The woman is speechless and furious at Mamoru's own refusal and justice. Kada sighs and sends a message to her niece, Hikari, informing her that she will be late. Kada politely asks the woman to come down with him at the next station to testify to the station staff that he is innocent. The woman agrees to help Kada clear up the misunderstanding with the station staff. Mamoru, the streamer, smiles presumptuously, indicating that his plan is working. Suddenly Mamoru flees the train, shouting forget as he escapes. As Mamoru flees, he shouts dick to Kada, and the other passengers start whispering and judging Kada. Passengers continue to gossip maliciously, calling Kada a pervert and planning to post their photo online to alert others. Kada realizes that something is wrong because passengers start spreading malicious rumors in unison, ignoring the facts. Kada realizes she was the victim of a setup and that the other passengers are probably accomplices. The woman tries to go after Mamoru, but Kada stops her, and her glasses fall to the ground during the commotion. Kada decides not to pursue Mamoru, thinking it would only cause more trouble and bother the other passengers. Reflecting on the situation, Kada suspects Kenya, the Doom production manager, is behind the frame. On the train platform, the woman blames herself, but Kada reassures her, explaining that although it was a coincidence for her, he believes it was a target. The woman tells Kada she has a lead on why someone like Mamoru targeted her. Kada replies that she is also a target, calling it a kind of reverse resentment. The woman suggests that the situation can become problematic if things get complicated later. To be safe, the woman shows her phone, which displays a photo of her in adventurous costumes, and asks to exchange contact information. Kada hesitantly agrees to exchange contacts. Meanwhile, in a convenience store, his niece Hikari cares about the kind of trouble he got himself into. Hikari reveals to herself that his mother is not coming to dinner, and that was a lie. A close-up panel reinforces that the mention of your mother coming was a lie from Hikari. With a malicious smile, Hikari thinks to herself that tonight is her turn to reward her uncle. In a restaurant, Hikari encourages his uncle Kada to make a toast. They beat their glasses, toasting. Kada drinks her beer mug with enthusiasm. Hikari, smiling, asks how it tastes, and he says it's great. While you're having dinner, Kada thanks Hikari, but the memory of the train incident bothers him. He raises two fingers secretly, a twitch he has when he's stressed or angry. Kada asks about Hikari's mother. Hikari lies, saying that his mother is at work but left money for them internally. She feels guilty for deceiving her uncle about her mother's coming. Kada, in turn, becomes suspicious about her sister's secret work. An outside outlet of the restaurant building, Kada says it's been a long time since they've had a chance to talk like this. Kada asks Hikari about school, and she jokes that this is a typical uncle question. Kada laughs, admitting it may seem old-fashioned, but he's genuinely curious about her life. Hikari responds excitedly that the school is fine and that she has found something she likes to do. Kada asks what it is, and Hikari gets nervous. Hikari panics internally, knowing that she cannot tell her uncle that she secretly created a live broadcast channel where she transmits him fighting in dungeons. Kada's phone rings. Hikari points out that his manager is calling. Kada considers ignoring the call, but Hikari insists he picks up. He apologizes and steps away from the table to answer the call. Kada answers the phone, and her manager apologizes for calling so late. His manager abruptly asks if he groped someone, for Kada's shock and confusion. The manager explains that a streamer named Mamoru pervert repellent exposed it in a video. Kada admits there was a problem on the train about an hour before. The manager finds the moment very convenient, noting that Kada's face is blurry in the video and there is no information to identify him. Despite the anonymity, the manager says that somehow the video was highlighted as being about an employee of their book company. The company received a direct message on their social networks about the prosecution, asking how they plan to deal with it. Kada realizes she was the victim of a setup. The manager expresses her trust in Kada, saying she knows he wouldn't do something like this because he cares more about self-preservation than his libido. Kada is pleased that her manager understands him so well. They agree that the frame is very well planned to be the work of a small streamer and that someone larger must be behind it. Both conclude that the culprit can only be Kenya Kachidoki, the manager of Doom Production with whom Kada had previously had a confrontation. Kada's manager is furious at the idea that the largest company in the sector resorted to harassment after her indecent proposal was rejected. The manager tells Kada not to be late for the next morning's meeting, where they'll discuss how to handle the situation. The manager assures Kada that the company will not take any disciplinary action against him, because she trusts him and the video has little value as evidence. Yukai, who is with the manager, expresses his disgust with people who offer sex in exchange for business or distort social justice. Kada offers to return to the office. The manager tells Kada to enjoy dinner with her family and hang up. Kada presses the phone, thinking. Kada reflects that the perpetrators kept the video anonymous and blurry because they know the evidence is weak, making it useless to process the streamer. Kada thinks how good bad guys are at protecting themselves. Your dark aura scares a nearby waiter. Enraged that they involved their company, their colleagues, and ruined their time with the family, Kada silently counts to 3. Kada returns to the table greeting Hikari. Kada returns to the table looking much more muscular and wrapped in an intimidating aura. Hikari, shocked, asks what happened and if he's okay. Kada smiles and assures Hikari that everything is fine, but her appearance terrifies her. Hikari asks Kada if something happened, but he doesn't answer directly. Instead of answering, Kada drinks her beer mug at once. Kada admits there was a little trouble at work. Hikari tells him not to worry about her and offers to take a cab home so he can get back to work. He gives you money for the ticket. Kada insists that she keep the change as pocket money to make up for ruining her gentle gesture and leaves in a hurry. Hikari decides he won't leave his uncle alone. She announces a live broadcast on the Shinjuku Beater channel for the enthusiasm of her followers. In an external outlet of the Shinjuku batting cage at night, Kada asks to use it for an hour. The clerk confirms the 500 yen rate, but Kada tells him she has other plans for tonight. Kada thinks angry about the industry leader who forces people to sleep with them for business. His thoughts turn to the streamer who sets people up for sexual harassment, calling him dirty scum. Kada declares that she is going to the Palace of the Incubs to beat the monsters full of lust until they become pulp. The Palace of the Incubs is a dangerous dungeon that resembles Shinjuku's red light district, Kabukicho. It's a chaotic place where many lives were lost during the dungeon disaster, and it's full of monsters and demons born of sexual desire. While monsters representing various fetishes roam the streets, Kada arrives, saying she comes here from time to face demons. A demon of lust attracted by the appearance of Kada shouts "Thank you, musculus, strong." Kada prepares to attack, determined to crush the monster. With a powerful blow from his baseball bat, Kada sends the monster of lust flying through the air. The monster hits a building and explodes. Kada, standing triumphant, comments that there is nothing better than blowing up sex-obsessed bastards. Kada reflects on the accumulated stress of his corporate life, including abuse of power, harassment, and false accusations that he has kept within himself. With a determined expression, Kada declares that she will unload all her repressed frustration on the dungeon monsters. A transition panel showing Kada taking a step forward, ready to continue her fury. Hidden and broadcasting live, Hikari looks at his phone, frightened by the description of the demon of sexual fetishism that his uncle is facing. Hikari, using his skill of SSS furtivity, observes terrified, knowing that demons in the Palace of the Incubs are resistant to harm and subject their victims to sexual acts if they defeat them. Meanwhile, Kada screams at a monster, calling him a dirty bastard who gropes people on crowded trains. Kada throws a devastating blow to a demon's crotch, screaming that she's gonna rip out her genitals. Hikari is frightened by violence, while livestream viewers comment that Kada seems in a very bad mood and wonder what may have happened. Kada continues her fury, cursing the brain-and-virile idiots who demand sexual favors in exchange for business while defeating more monsters. While Kada is in the midst of the defeated monsters, a viewer sends a 10,000 yen super chat, hoping he will eat something delicious to relieve stress. Hikari gets excited about the donation. Kada stops for a moment, examining the area to ensure that there are no more immediate enemies around. As the broadcast reaches monetization and the super chats continue to arrive, Hikari dreams of making a fortune so his uncle can quit his job. Hikari fantasizes about a future where she and her uncle can spend the rest of their lives together as successful streamers. Suddenly, a flash of light goes through the air and hits the ground near Kada with a drum. causing a small explosion. Kada turns, surprised, to see a large spear thrust into the ground where the explosion occurred. The spear releases a powerful sphere of energy. Kada jumps back to avoid the explosion and then hits the sphere with her bat, diverting it. Hikari's live feed is suddenly interrupted. In panic, she wonders if the drone was destroyed or if her uncle found out she was transmitting it. A transition panel focused on the spear, which vibrates with power after the explosion. The spear disappears from the ground and reappears in the hand of a new adventurer, a woman with blue hair and a battle suit. The mysterious woman quickly advances towards Kada, attacking him with her spear. Kada skillfully blocks the woman's attack with her baseball bat, and the two weapons clash with a metallic sound. A close-up of the woman's eye while she continues her attack on Kada. While they face each other, the woman suddenly stops and cries "wait," freezing in the middle of battle. A close-up of Kada's face while he holds his bat against the woman's spear. A close-up of the woman's face with her eyes shaded, showing her surprise reaction. Realizing that Kada is a human and not a monster, the woman is shocked by her mistake. The woman bows deeply, profusely apologizing for the wrong attack. Kada tells the woman to be more careful about what's surrounding her, and she apologizes again, explaining that she didn't think anyone else would be in the area. Hikari realizes that Kada did not notice her, thanks to her ability to steal SSS. Hikari deduces that his live feed was cut because his family drone was caught in the explosion of the woman's area attack. Hikari is shocked to recognize the woman as Senna, the dancer of the spear, a high-level streamer of the Doom production with over 1 million subscribers and known for being the strongest physical solo attacker. Hikari, secretly watching, realizes the viral potential of collaboration between his uncle, Suiren, and the newcomer Senna, becoming extremely excited. Convinced that the collaboration between his uncle, Suiren, and Senna will be legendary, Hikari decides to resume live transmission using his familiar drone to film. To avoid problems by transmitting Senna's official broadcast, Hikari decides to blur her face and silence the conversation before resuming live broadcast. Hikari's live broadcast is resumed, and viewers immediately flood the chat with comments, relieved and wondering if Kada is okay. Despite the blurry face, viewers of the live broadcast begin to recognize Senna, and the chat explodes in shock and unbelief. While Senna asks Kada if something is wrong, live broadcast viewers go crazy, sending super chats and expressing their shock when they see her. Kada feels she's being watched but discards the feeling as imagination, not knowing that Hikari is secretly filming him. Kada questions whether Senna's attack was a mistake. She apologizes, claiming to have vision problems and confusing him with a monster. An explanation about the weapons of adventurers, highlighting that, although most are common and replicable, there are some legendary weapons that cannot be reproduced. Senna's spear is revealed as one of those legendary weapons called Gi Bog the Destruction. Kada recognizes the woman as Senna, one of Doom Productions' best-ranked streamers. Kada remembers seeing Senna on a popular New Year's music show, hoping she's not broadcasting live at the moment. Kada examines the surroundings and, seeing no one else, concludes that she is alone with Senna. Kada questions Senna's excuse for bad vision, and she explains that glasses can break in combat. Kada accuses her of lying. Kada attacks Senna to test her, she blocks her blow, and they both engage in a high-speed combat. Senna's tone changes from playful to serious as the battle between her and Kada intensifies. The fight continues with sparks flying as their weapons clash, showing the incredible skill of both fighters. Kada trims just a high-speed hit by Senna, demonstrating his incredible reflexes. The sudden duel between Kada and Senna shocks the viewers of the live broadcast, who react with amazement. The viewers marvel at the high-level battle, labeling it the Spear Dancer vs. Shinjuku Hitter. Kada perfectly intercepts a powerful Senna kick, interrupting her attack. The battle comes to a tense stop with Kada's bat standing inches from Senna's face. Senna freezes, surprises, while the dust drops, marking the end of the duel. A close-up of the dust dissipating as Kada blocks Senna's attack, which leads to the completion of their struggle. A transition panel focused on Kada's bat, reflecting the abrupt end of the intense battle. After the match, Senna expresses her surprise, noting that Kada's bat does not seem to have any magical power and wonders if it is just a common commercial item. Kada confirms that her bat is a rented item from a batting cage. Senna, impressed, asks if his technique is based on the art of the staff, but he denies it. Kada reveals that his fighting skills are just imitations of a kung fu movie he likes, that he practices alone during overtime at work. Senna is shocked to learn that Kada's abilities are just imitations. Kada then confronts her, stating that she knows that her story about having a bad vision was a lie. Kada confronts Senna, explaining that she realizes that she fights with her eyes closed. He admits that he fought with her to confirm that his first attack required a faster reaction than his vision, and that he had a reason to suspect how she fights. Kada asks Senna if dying is not scary, emphasizing the true fear behind the death of an adventurer. Kada explains that the terror of being defeated by a stronger monster can break the spirit of an adventurer, even if his body revives. Kada apologizes for intruding, but she says she'd regret it if she didn't say anything. Senna thanks him for his advice. Senna confesses the truth. She is very afraid to open her eyes. She reveals that her primary skill is the eye of the mind. Senna explains that her extraordinary rank ability X, the eye of mind, gives her a high third-person view of herself, as in a video game. Senna continues, explaining that the ability improves its reflexes and reaction speed, making time seem to slow down around you. Senna reveals that she acquired the skill 18 years ago at the age of 4 during the Mamoru disaster, shocking Kada. Hidden, Hikari is relieved that his ability to steal SSS is beyond Senna's detection. In a flashback, Senna recalls the day she was separated from her parents and attacked by a horde of monsters during the disaster. The flashback shows the chaos of the dungeon disaster 18 years ago, with monsters destroying the city and people fleeing in panic. In the flashback, a young Senna is chased by goblins, and one of them attacks her with her claws. The flashback shows the claws of a goblin cutting the eyes of young Senna as she screams with pain and terror. The flashback shows a take of a building, with cries of agony illustrating chaos and destruction. A flashback panel with sound effects and a scream of bastards. In the flashback, a younger and wounded Kada holds the injured child Senna, screaming out of frustration for not being strong enough to protect people in time. In the flashback, young Kada comforts the injured child, promising to protect her. In the present, Senna recalls his savior and wonders where he is now. Kada asks about her parents. Senna apologizes for opening up so much and says they're safe, for Kada's relief. Senna asks about Kada's experience during the disaster. He replies that he also went through difficult times and only managed to survive without being able to help anyone. Kada has a painful flashback from when she came to a shelter and found it was too late to save the boy she had promised to protect. Senna smiles and says she's also glad he survived. Kada is surprised by her genuine warmth while he squeezes his fist in silence, remembering her failure. Senna explains that she became an adventurer to find and thank her benefactor, but could not find him in the chaos of the shelter after meeting with his parents. Senna reveals that her motivation to become famous is in the hope that her savior will see her one day and contact her. Senna confesses that since that day she is very afraid of monsters and cannot fight with her eyes open, so she fights alone. Kada notes that she quickly realized his ability. Senna says it was mostly instinct, and Kada comments that he can do something similar. Kada warns Senna not to exaggerate, reminding her that someone worked hard to save her life and would be sad if something happened to her. Kada plays that he's a delicate old man who hurts to see young people get hurt. Senna smiles with his comment. Senna asks why Kada is there and he says it's his hobby to practice batting. She thinks he looks a little like the person in her memory. Senna discards the idea of Kada being her savior because he wasn't so muscular, and also thinks he looks like the man she saw on the train. Meanwhile, Hikari's relative cares about the fall of audience. Hikari, watching the broadcast, is concerned that the calm conversation and the fact that the faces are blurry and the silent audio will cause her to lose viewers. While Hikari worries, a muscular man suddenly appears and cries "Korda," surprising Senna. The man, a cameraman, approaches Kada and Senna. Kada, surprised, asks who he is. The man presents himself as Dan, a freelance cameraman in charge of Senna's filming. When Kada asks if he is broadcasting live, Dan proudly declares he is an artist and hates live broadcasts for not allowing editing. Senna formally performs and explains that she is there to record a music video for her new song. Dan complains that the original plan was for her to dance with a rookie, but he claims there is no newbie on her level. Dan complains that executives don't understand anything and that he would be banned if he complained. Senna says she'd be in trouble without Dan's talent, but he encourages her to experiment with other cameramen. Dan's furious, screaming that the rookie couldn't even make it to the Incubus Palace. Kada comments that she understands the frustration of dealing with irrational demands of high management. With an imaginary cat meowing in the background, Kada says she's been through a similar experience recently. Dan explains that the rookie ran away a long time ago and then impulsively begs Kada to participate in the promotional video instead, promising it will be the best video ever. Dan realizes the reluctance on Kada's face, and Kada confirms bluntly that she does not want to participate. Dan apologizes and makes a formal offer, promising compensation and official credits. Kada refuses, explaining that it is not for the money, but because he does not like to be the center of attention while the live broadcast shows viewers offering money for a facial revelation. Dan offers an alternative. They will hide Kada's face and name with CGI, keep his involvement secret from the company, and Dan will pay him personally from his own pocket. Senna also asks Kada to participate in the video. Dan passionately expresses that it is his commitment as a professional cameraman to film them together, even if he has to spend his last penny. Kada listens carefully while Senna explains that with him, she feels she can do her best. Senna explains that she had to contain herself with her original partner but does not want to compromise her work for fans waiting for her music. Kada ponders her request. Kada looks at her rented thoughtful baseball bat. Kada notes that the rent of her taco, which costs 500 yen per hour, has only 30 minutes remaining. Kada states with confidence that she will finish the dungeon in the remaining 25 minutes, to Senna's surprise. Kada agrees to let them film, saying she doesn't need compensation. Excited, Senna agrees and Dan prepares to film. Dan triggers his recording drones, the albacore swarm, and the music begins. Kada and Senna advance, and Kada comments that the song seems to have a buff effect. Kada advances, crushing monsters with her baseball bat. Kada comments on the satisfying sound that her blows do while defeating the monsters. Exalted, Senna tells Kada that by fighting alongside him, she can finally fight with full force. Senna raises her spear and launches a powerful magical attack called Emerald Crush. Senna's attack hits her target, drilling and destroying several monsters with emerald shrapnel. While fighting in sync with music, Kada thinks of herself as embarrassing but fun if she lets herself go and fights alongside a young girl. Despite the embarrassment, Kada admits to herself that she is enjoying herself. Kada raises Senna and the spear in the air, thinking how she admires the people who are proud of her work. In the air, Senna launches another Emerald Crush attack, defeating the remaining monsters below. Hikari's live broadcast goes viral, with viewers amazed at how quickly they cleaned the stage, surpassing even other high-end adventurers, and donations continue to arrive. As they enter the chief's chamber, they encounter a huge demon monster with dragon wings holding a vehicle in their clutches. Kada and Senna face the demon boss who holds a vehicle. The live broadcast reacts with panic and confusion about stage design, which includes a poisonous swamp. Kada asks Senna if she's ready. Kada attacks the boss' leg from behind, unbalanced him. Senna jumps over the rubble to position herself while the live broadcast wonders if Kada defeated the monster. Senna invokes the power of her legendary spear, Gibalg, for a powerful attack. Senna's spear attack hits the head of the demon boss with immense force. The demon chief, enraged by Senna's attack, retaliates with a powerful fire-breathing attack towards Kada. Kada emerges unharmed from the flames, to the shock of the viewers, who realize that he is wearing ordinary clothes instead of dungeon equipment. As Kada emerges from the flames, she quietly declares that even intangible things like fire have a core. Kada uses her bat to absorb and capture the flames. Meanwhile, Hikari, managing the live broadcast, is shocked by the passion of fans who send a super chat of 20,000 yen. The captured fire energy condenses into a shiny sphere around Kata's bat, while it states that if you can hit the core, you can hit anything out of the park. Kada swings her bat and releases the energy of condensed fire, shouting the name of her skill, Bad Ball Beater. The energy sphere flies towards the boss while Kada uses her bat to hit the vehicle, redirecting it to crash into the monster's chest at the exact moment. After the boss defeat, Dan the cameraman shouts bravo, amazed at the performance. While Dan celebrates, Senna approaches Kada and asks her name. Kada tells Senna to call him K. She's joking, asking if it's K of Kitty. Kada explains that K is the Chinese character for firefly, which shines brightly before dying. Senna doesn't like the joke. Senna thanks Kada, saying it was a performance she'll never forget. Kada smiles in response. Hikari's familiar drone, which was recording the fight, is shown closely. Hikari celebrates enthusiastically as his channel subscriber count exceeds 140,000. Crediting Senna's incredible influence on viral success. In the dungeon of Shinjuku Kabukicho at the point of rebirth, Kada, Senna, and Dan gather. Kada thanks the others for helping him collect the items he calls garbage. Senna asks Kada if he's sure he wants to share the loot equally since he did most of the work. Kada says it's okay and she's getting ready to leave, while Dan comments that she's never heard anyone call items a garbage collection before. A panoramic shot showing Kada moving away from the point of rebirth, while Senna and Dan observe. While Kada leaves, Dan comments that he's not greedy, or maybe it's just weird. Senna, beside him, wonders how much the whole loot could be worth. Kada reflects on the fact that the laws relating to dungeons are not yet fully established. A narration explains the legally gray area of the property in dungeons, since the distorted lands dimensionally and the treasures and monsters within them do not belong legally to anyone. The items that adventurers collect are considered their property. A text panel repeating that treasures and monsters don't belong legally to anyone. Kada thinks of the challenges of converting dungeon items into money. Selling the items would yield only about 1,000,000 yen, and to do so legally, he would have to register as an adventurer, violating his company's policy against parallel labor. He remembers being banned from an auction site for trying to sell an item. In a flashback or vignette, Kada insists on paying a 10-minute delay fee, and the attendant thanks him. Outside Shinjuku Station at night, Kada concludes that the dungeon items are essentially useless garbage to him. A close take of a large donation box for the victims of the dungeon disaster. Kada throws the bag of valuable items into the donation box, feeling a little guilty about using a garbage bag. Hidden and using his SSS furtivity skill, his niece Hikari watches him, shocked by the waste. A close-up of Hikari's shocked thought about his uncle donating all the items. While two close women observe and judge him for throwing waste in the donation box, Hikari secretly ponders whether he should take the items home. The two women, outraged by Kada's apparent lack of respect, decide to report him to the responsible organization, hoping he will be arrested. One of the women calls to report Kada, explaining that someone threw trash in the donation box. She's surprised when the person on the other side of the line says she'll come right away. An older officer comes running in, gasping, and asks women if they witnessed a man throwing a garbage bag. They confirm and encourage you to hurry and catch the culprit. To the women's surprise, the officer says he's not there to arrest the man but to thank him. The officer opens the donation box, revealing that the garbage bag is full of bright and valuable dungeon items, leaving the two women mouthless. The officer explains that the man is an anonymous donor who makes great contributions since the Mamoru disaster 18 years ago. They nicknamed him Daddy Garbage Bag. Women are ashamed of their mistrial, and the invisible Hikari finds the nickname ridiculous. Despite his silly nickname, Hikari, still hidden, is filled with admiration, thinking about how amazing his uncle is. The next morning at home, Kada looks exhausted at the breakfast table. His older sister, Hikari, asks if he didn't sleep well, and he explains that he had some unexpected problems. Kada tells Hikari about being falsely accused of being a groper. At this moment, your daughter, Hikari, arrives with coffee. Hikari asks Hikari why she was meeting Kada. Hikari is upset that she wasn't invited to dinner. Kada, confused, says she thought it was her idea. Take the lie. Hikari panics. Hikari pretends to cry, explaining innocently that he just wanted to show his appreciation for his hardworking uncle. Hikari's performance works, and both Hikari and Kada are speechless, unable to reprimand her. Hikari tells Hikari that lying is wrong, but she can go next time. Kada thanks Hikari for her consideration. Relieved, Hikari then asks about the false accusation. After Kada explains the situation, Hikari and Hikari burst out of anger on her behalf. Hikari defends Kada furiously, saying it's ridiculous to accuse a man who has been donating money for 18 years of being a groper. Kada tries to calm her down. Hikari also encourages his uncle to fight back. Kada refuses, but is grateful for the unwavering support of her family. While Kada reflects on her family's support, Hikari secretly sends a message to her friend Mia with a link to the streamer pervert Repel Mamoru-kun video, asking for help to deal with the problem. A panel focused on Hikari, while she secretly sends the text message. Hikari holds her phone, determined to protect her uncle, while her mother, Hikari, scolds her for using the phone during the meal. During dinner, Hikari's mother, Hikari, scolds her for using the phone, but Hikari is busy sending a message to her friend Mia, asking for help with her uncle's problem in exchange for anything. Kada comments on how good it is to be young and not understand social networks. Hikari suggests that his uncle would be popular on social media. but he says he has nothing to show. Suddenly, your phone rings with a call from work. Kada answers a call from her manager, who informs him that Doki from Doom Production requested a meeting to make up. Kada, suspicious, would rather not go. The manager explains that the CEO of the company ordered Keita to go, kneel down and beg for the deal. Yukai, who is with the manager, calls it bullying. Keita confirms to her manager that he has no right to refuse the CEO's order. The manager claims that if Keita refuses, she will also be fired and the company will probably go bankrupt anyway. The meeting is scheduled for Monday. As soon as Keita hangs up, her phone rings again. He apologizes to his family and walks away to take another call. Hikari reassures a concerned Hikari, telling her to trust Keita because he is a responsible adult. Keita takes the new call, addressing the person on the other side as Shuritamesan. A transition panel showing a close-up of a burger on a plate. The person who called is the adventurer Suiren, true name, Suiren Shiratama, who is apologizing for what Doki, whom she calls Doki, did to Keita. Keita deduces that Doki must be Doki's adventurous nickname. Suiren, having dinner with his teammates Rindo and Amazuru, warns Keita that Doki is dangerous and that he should be careful. Suiren explains that Doki has the rule of becoming friend of people fighting with them in a confrontation one by one, calling him caveman. Suiren reveals that Doki has a habit of summoning people he doesn't like to a dungeon whenever things don't go the way he wants, to Keita's shock. Through an office rumor, it turns out that Doki gets away with his behavior because he has connections. That is, compromising information about someone in a position of power. Keita discovers that Doki has a streamer that conducts citizen prisons to cover up problems. He connects it to his own false harassment charge and Suiren apologizes, sure it was his doing. Understanding the situation, Keita refuses Suiren's offer of help and collaboration, saying it would be very problematic and dangerous for her. Suiren murmurs that it is not fair since he has already collaborated with Senna. A close-up of Keita, who tells himself he needs to resolve the situation. A panel shows a blank resume illustrating Keita's thought that he would be in trouble if his company failed, because he even forgot how to fill one. Keita informs Suiren that she was summoned by Doki for Monday and will probably be dragged into a dungeon. Keita describes cynically the sales work as combine old with other old people, who are selfish, cowardly, and despicable. While Suiren finds Keita's tone frightening, her teammates agree with his assessment of salesmen being scory. Keita goes on to say that even scum needs to do their job for the world to function smoothly, and tells Suiren not to worry about him being beaten up during working hours. Keita explains that she does not want credit or a promotion because it would lead to a senseless management position, with more work and less salary. Regretting the darkness of modern society, Keita asks Suiren if she knows Senna. Suiren confirms, saying she'd like to go out with her. Keita is satisfied and reveals that she has a business card from one of Senna's employees, Dan. He plans to ask Dan to call her on her behalf to help settle things old-fashioned. On Monday at 7:00, Keita arrives at Shinjuku Station for the meeting. He observes two men, suspecting they are carrying hidden weapons and are there to prevent him from escaping. Keita deduces that the real threat is after him. A man approaches, calls him pervert, and puts a knife on his side. Keita pretends to be terrified. Realizing that Keita is being kidnapped openly, she continues to pretend to panic while her captor tells her to shut up and accompany him. A black and white panel shows Keita being driven by a dark alley by Doki's men. While being pushed, Kada pretends to be in pain but thinks to herself that everything is going according to plan, while a small drone camera records the kidnapping. While it is driven by a dark alley, Kada thinks to herself that this must be the usual path of her captors and that if no one knows about this secret gate, no one will find out what happens to those who enter. Coming to a karaoke building which serves as a front for the Shinjuku dungeon, level zone 15 to 20, Kada realizes that her captors have a serious intention of killing him. The captors lead Kada down a long corridor into the dungeon. Kada enters a room where a man, Kachidoki, was waiting for him. Kachidoki, also known as Doki Kinya, stands up and challenges Kada to a confrontation 1-against-1 in exchange for the collaboration he wanted. The streamer Mamoru scolds Kada for mocking Doki, boasting that Doki has already had 127,000 followers, but Kada denies it, saying he bought these followers from a dealer. Kada continues to expose Mamoru's scandalous past, which leads the angry streamer to punch Kada in the face. Kada pretends to be knocked out by the weak punch, falling to the ground and moaning in pain, while thinking she may not have provoked enough. Still on the ground, Kada plans to get Doki to confess his motives for solid evidence against him. Doki approaches Kada, saying that his calm attitude is exactly what he cannot stand. Doki steps on Kada's glasses, commenting that although he pretends to be weak, he is surprisingly resistant. Mamoru mocks Kada for being beaten, while Doki, angry, tells Kada to stand up. Doki repeatedly hits Kada, breaking her glasses, and grabs him by the collar, calling him a disgusting monster disguised as a human. Despite his injuries, Kada faces Doki without fear, and Doki realizes that Kada could kill him at any time. Doki invokes his sword in flames, the flambe sword, and challenges Kada to a duel 1-against-1 to become friends. Doki's sword burns heavily, while his goons watch. Doki advances to attack Kada, shouting that he will kill him if he refuses to fight. Suddenly, Suiren and his team appear. Suiren casts an SSS water magic megaton bomb spell, hitting Doki and interrupting his attack. One of his teammates announces that kidnapping and assault were all recorded. Kada calmly adjusts her glasses while Doki, soaked, looks shocked at Suiren, realizing that everything was a setup. Doki realizes that even if dungeons are places without law, his actions have limits and he cannot rely on his adventurous privileges to escape the consequences. Mamoru tries to justify himself to Suiren, claiming that they were only punishing a pervert, but a voice calls him a liar. The girl on the train Mamoru harassed appears and becomes her adventurous form, revealing herself to be Senna, the dancer of the spear, the publicly known victim of Mamoru's harassment. Doki and his men are shocked by the revelation. Doki furiously questions Mamoru for targeting Senna, and Mamoru panics, claiming he was deceived and did not know who she was. Kada reflects that although she was also shocked to discover Senna's identity, the twist of fate was quite useful for everything to go well. While Suiren and Senna pose ready for battle, Kada reflects that while adventurers may use avatars to change appearance, changes are not drastic enough to completely conceal their true identity. The girls realize that Kada is watching them and accuse him of thinking of something rude. He denies it and says it's time to start acting. Kada turns, her muscles expanding and tearing her suit. Doki and his men recognize him, horrified, as the Shinjuku fighter. Kada, in her muscular form, sighs that holding her belly for so long is exhausting for a man of her age. Senna comments with Suiren and his team that Kada looks more like a con man than she does, and the others agree. Kada closes her fist with a blue aura, reminding Doki that he wanted to settle things in a confrontation 1-against-1. Doki, in panic, denies challenging Kada to a confrontation 1-against-1, stating that he would not have done so if he knew Kada's true identity. Kada confronts Doki, asking if fighting one against one is not his way of becoming friend. Suiren, Senna, and the other girls confirm they heard Doki say he was fighting one against one, shocking him. Suiren asks where Kada's bat is, and he says he doesn't have it and doesn't need it. With a powerful aura, Kada declares that her own hands are enough for the fight. One of Doki's goons offers to fight, mocking Kada for thinking he can win without equipment. The henchman activates his spread lightning beast skill, but before he can attack, Kada hits him with a powerful punch to the face. Kada scolds the stunned henchman, telling him to stop talking and start fighting seriously. The henchman falls to the ground, defeated and writhing with pain after Kada's blow. Suiren, shocked, asks if Kada's technique is karate, but Raido, who is experienced, answers that it is on a completely different level. Kada points to her next opponent, who recognizes Kada's speed and power but suggests she has a plan. The man reveals his weapon, a stick disguised as a bottle of wine with elements of water and cold air, stating that it will freeze Kada. Kada, faster again, hits the man in the face, breaking his gun. He scolds them for not attacking him all at once. Mamoru begs for mercy, blaming Doki. Kada, seeing that he's not going to fight anymore, asks the girls to contain him. While Doki panics, Kada minimizes her ability. Suiren and Raido discuss Kada's strength, with laughing comparing him to Superman. Kada turns to Doki and asks what he will do. Doki, enraged, advances to attack. Doki activates his flambe sword skill, screaming for Kada to burn, confident that he cannot resist unarmed. For the shock of all, Kada intercepts the attack of the flaming sword with her own hands, neutralizing the flames. Doki and the girls observe, shocked and unbelieving what Kada just did. Kada holds the condensed fire energy, explaining that although fire is intangible heat, Kada explains that shaping the fire makes it tangible and blockable, a technique called circular block that he learned in a manga for Doki's terror. Remembering advice to imagine a line, Kada prepares to launch the sphere of fire, leaving the girls confused. Kada throws the energy sphere like a fast baseball, screaming defiance course advanced level 110 mph fastball. The energy sphere hits Doki in full, telling it to fly with devastating impact. Watching Doki's avatar disappear, Kada smiles and tells the group it's time to go to his renaissance point. At the point of rebirth of the dungeon, Doki reappears, disoriented and calling for his mother. Kada observes, relieved that he is alive, while the narration explains that adventurers revive at the points of rebirth if they die in the dungeon. A narration panel explaining that adventurers revive at the point of rebirth if they die within the dungeon. An explanation about the adventurers' avatars, which are like a second mana fabric body. An explanation in diagram showing that, in suffering damage, the avatar is destroyed instead of the adventurer, allowing it to revive at the point of rebirth. Doki, still in shock, keeps calling for his mother. The narrative explains that only the soul of the adventurer experiences death while the body remains unharmed. Kada comments that Doki seems to be fine. Senna, however, expresses his doubt, asking if he is really well. Kada explains that Doki is only in temporary shock due to rebirth and will return to normal in a few days. He claims to hate violence, but Senna notes that he seemed to be having a lot of fun during the fight. Kada decides to leave the captives to Doom Production to avoid a public scandal. Suiren confirms that your CEO has been informed. Kada then orders Mamoru to erase the video from the false charge and pay compensation to the victims. Mamoru, while trying to erase the video, discovers in panic that his channel has been permanently banned. Desperate, Mamoru falls to his knees, lamenting that his life and career as a streamer are over. Kada comments that the ban was abrupt. The girls speculate if any other victims reported him in the guild. The girls discuss the severity of a channel ban, noting that it is a punishment that is not easily obtained and that, as a streamer, Mamoru's career is over. Suiren notes that a ban requires solid evidence. Kada remembers how her niece, Hikari, got upset and started touching her phone after he told her about the false accusation. Kada quickly dismisses suspicion, thinking to herself that Hikari is just a normal child and that he could not be involved. With the situation resolved, the group leaves the dungeon. Suiren, hungry, strongly suggests that they go out and eat something. One of Suiren's teammates turns to Kada and Senna, inviting them to join the celebration after delivering the captives. Kada smiles and agrees to pay for everyone's meal as a thank you for your help. Suiren thanks Kada with enthusiasm, blushing with happiness. In the restaurant, Kada asks to sit at a separate table from the group of girls, for the confusion of Suiren, who complains that this nullifies the purpose of leaving together. Kada explains with a smile that hates the idea of being treated like a sugar daddy. Suiren reacts with indignation, shouting, "How dare you!" While the group follows Kada through an alley, the invisible Hikari secretly watches them. Hikari calls her friend Mia, wondering if you could join the celebration. Mia agrees since Hikari pays her next time, and Hikari agrees with enthusiasm. Mia asks if Hikari is filming and is impressed that she knows she shouldn't. She provokes her, calling her sensible but also the kind of cute girl she wouldn't want to have in her family, to Hikari's indignation. Mia asks if Hikari will keep secret from her uncle that they were the ones who banned Mamoru's channel. Hikari says you can't tell him how they broke into Mamoru's house and collected evidence from his laptop, because it was practically a crime. Hikari tries to justify his actions as social justice, but Mia points out that this logic is exactly the same as Mamoru's. An outside outlet of the Royal Hall restaurant at night, where the group is celebrating. At the restaurant, Senna tells Kada he's quite a person. He insists he's just a regular office clerk, but she says his definition of common is completely distorted. Laughing adds that ordinary office employees do not stream. Kada says he doesn't either. Suiren, shocked and confused, asks Kada, "You transmit, don't you?" Kada, looking genuinely perplexed, repeats the word transmit.